Hello, I am now shifting the mic to Mr. Narendra Nande, who has created and communicated with Mr. Satyajit. Mr. Narendra, please.
Hello, good morning, everyone. As Kazi sir said, it is a very important subject today. This subject is very near to our heart. Rather, it's about matter of funds flow of our business. It's about knowing payment receivable mechanism designed specifically for MSME. Payment recovery from customers is matter of concern for most of us. While we all MSME always face issue of payment recovery, especially from big corporates and government organizations. Also, while accepting big orders, we are always worried about receipt of timely payment for goods supplied. This is of immense, especially in this current situation to improve liquidity. Though the MSMED Act is in place for getting overdue payment for MSME, but it's having certain practical limitations that we all are aware of. Meanwhile, we learned about RXIL, that is Receivable Exchange India Limited, which provides digital platform called Trades, that is Trade Receivable Discounting System Exchange. This is specifically for the benefit of MSME. RXIL is joint venture of National Stock Exchange and CDB, having shareholdings of renowned banks, and Trades is formed under the guidelines of RBI and Ministry of Finance, Government of India. We thought we should share this information with Cosmo members for their benefit. We talked to Mr. Anand Jayawant regarding RXIL and Trades Exchange. He has already shared brief information about this platform in Cosmo Group to have before and background of the subject. Then we contacted Mr. Satyajit Jathar of RXIL, who looks after Western region, and he has accepted our request even in short notice. And we appreciate RXIL officials to join today. Today we are having Mr. Satyajit Jathar with Mr. Kailas Varodia, who is CFO of RXIL, Mr. Soman and Mr. Indrajit Samanta. We are expecting Mr. Ketan Gaikwad, who is MD or RXIL, if the time permits, because he is busy in some other commitment. I welcome them all, and I request Mr. Satyajit Jathar to give introduction to other RXIL dignitaries present today. Further, I request him to enlighten us about the RXIL and Trends Exchange and how it can be benefited with this mechanism. Thank you. So, Mr. Satyajit, please take ahead.
Can I start, sir?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can also share your files, what you are having.
Yes, sure.
Presentation also you can show from your end.
Yeah, sure, no problem. First of all, good morning, everyone, to all Cosma members. Special thanks to Mr. Nande and Mr. Anand for organizing this session for us. First of all, I wanted to tell from RXIL side, I am Satyajit here. Apart from, along with me, our CFO, Mr. Kailash Varodia, is also present for this meeting. Mr. Suman and Mr. Indrajit. They are also right now joining our meeting along with us. So I would like Mr. Kailash Varodia to start the session for all our trades members. Kailash ji. Hello. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Kailash, can you hear me?
am I audible, please? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Whether I'm audible? Yeah. Good
Yes,
morning,
yes, sir.
everyone. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thanks to Mr. Nanda, he's given perfect information about the trades which helps the MSME. Thanks to all the member of Cosmo Group. Again, from my side, from RXIL side, on behalf of the team, Namaste. That is what we have to now adopt while meeting everyone. Namaste is the proper our traditional way of greeting each other. So just before I start my presentation, just to give a small background, what is RXIL? So RXIL is basically a trades entity, trades receivable discounting system, which is a licensed entity of RBI, as correctly said by Mr. Nanda, that it's a licensed entity of RBI. And the whole concept or the whole objective of RXIL is to help the MSME with respect to their liquidity issue or on the receivable side of it, where they raise the invoices on a big corporate or PSUs or government department, and there is a credit period involved, and they are not able to encash that immediately, so that it can benefit to their business. Okay. So, whether the screen is visible to everyone? Hello?
Yes, it's visible.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
it is visible. Yes, it is visible.
So everyone knows that MSME basically contribute almost 37 to 38% of the employment in India, and a contribution of 29% in GDP, and then subsequently also almost more than 45% in export. Obviously, these figures will increase considering that new definition has been approved, and it will be effective from 1st of July this year. Okay, this is a small data, so I'm not going into detail. It says that even though RXIL is a backbone of the country, and at various forum it has been said that RXIL MSME has to be give the first priority within 45 days. They have to get the payment from the buyer. It can be treated as a priority sector lending, so banker also give them a good concession rate. Okay, but go to the facts and the figures. It has been served by the ET magazine in November 2019. That if you see, most of the MSME is still struggling to take the payment within 45 days from the goods acceptance date. If you see on the right hand side, almost 70% the payment actually received after 45 days. There are cases, there are cases where 17% of the MSME who has to actually 5% they have to write off that whatever payment are they supposed to receive. I'm not going into more detail of it, rather than we will spend more time on the concept. Okay. The biggest problem, if you see in the right side corner downside, 66% of the time that either private sector or a government dues, where the MSME is getting problem while recovering that dues. So many efforts can be taken by the government to help the MSME. So they had first introduced the MSME Act. Everyone knows this MSME Act at 2016. They had introduced the MSME Act that within 45 days they have to receive the payment from the buyer once the goods or services are accepted. Okay, and then subsequently 2012 they also government has also come up with a guideline that the corporates has to also declare into their annual reports with respect to whatever dues outstanding with respect to MSME, whether it is in 45 days or it is outside crossing 45 days, and if it is crossing the 45 days, they have to provide for the interest on that. Okay, then Samadhan portal introduced in 2015. 2 weeks back, we are also having some webinar with the government officials, where they had said that from 2019 almost 33,000 complaints has been received through e-Samadhan portal. To help the MSME, RBI has introduced trades receivable discounting system, where RXIL is going to play a part. They had introduced in 2014 the guidelines, and introduced in 2014, and then they had given a license to NSE and SIDBI to develop the platform. Okay, to develop the platform. And to 2016, they had given the final approval to NSE and SIDBI to go live. So NSE and SIDBI basically formed the company in February 2016. And along with NSE and SIDBI, State Bank of India Group, ICICI Group, and Yes Bank has joined his hand in May 2016. First transaction we have done in January 9th January 2017. So we have done the first live transaction in January 2017. So 9th January 2017, the platform is live. These are basically our the shareholders that NSE and SIDBI is holding 30%, SBI Group, ICICI Group holding each 16%, and Yes Bank is 8%. The whole object of this platform is to finance the receivable of the MSMEs. Okay.
कैलाश थोड़ा स्लो करने का, कैलाश थोड़ा स्लो, जो स्पीड थोड़ा कम रखो प्लीज.
चलेगा. Okay. So the whole object of the trades platform is to help the MSME with respect to their receivable that they raise on the corporate, the PSUs or a government department when there is a credit period. Second object is the digital and transparent platform, and third part is basically all the transaction happen through this platform is totally handled by NPCI. So there is no manual RTGS or NEFT involved at the time of financing. There is no follow-up to be done with respect to payment to be done on the MSME. Okay. So what is this platform? So what is the role of the RXIL? So RXIL is basically a platform, an exchange, or a facilitator who are bringing together the buyer, seller, and the financer. And this platform is totally a many-to-many relationship. Why I'm saying it is many-to-many relationship? That means a particular one buyer can have thousands of vendor on this side. Same one vendor under one registration, he can finance his invoices raised on the 10 buyer. So it's basically many-to-many relationship. Subsequently, this is basically a multi-financer model. Okay, where there are today we have 35 financers. So there are many financiers who actually bid on the invoices accepted by the buyer based on the strength of the buyer. The financiers are actually bidding. So that is a multi-financer model. As I told you that we are basically a platform on an aggregator, okay, or a facilitator who are bringing together the buyer, seller, and the financer to do a e-bill discounting or a factoring or a invoice financing, whatever you can call. Okay. So as I told you that this basically platform is meant for the MSME supplier. Their invoices are the receivable of MSME is getting financed. The supplier category should be always be MSMEs. As of now, the definition is based on investment in plant and machinery. Then upper cap is 10 crore, and from 1st of January, the upper cap will become the 50 crore, and additional, that is one more condition is levied on that the turnover should not be more than 250 crore. Okay, so MSME, the receivable of MSME is only going to finance over here. This platform basically cater to factoring as well as reverse factoring. So it can be used for the MSME for their receivable financing. Same way, it can be used as a payable financing for the buyers. I request other participants if you can keep their phone on a mute, so it will be clear for everyone to listen. Whatever query you have, you can put it into chat box. We have Indrajit, we have Suman, we have Satyajit who will address your query immediately. Okay. Now, second category is a buyer category, which basically includes the large corporate or any other corporate or a buyer, which includes PSUs and government department. Okay. Third category is basically financer category, who's going to finance the receivable of the MSME, which is raised on these buyers, which is basically all the banks and NBFC factors. As of now, they had only allowed NBFC factors, but as government is backing this project like anything, okay, they had also in this union budget announcement, they had also announced that other NBFC can also be a financer on this platform, which will increase the financer kitty. So there will be more finance on this platform, so that more MSME will get benefit of it and more concessional rate can be availed on this platform. Okay, so this basically all these three participate, we call it as a participate, they have to get bilaterally registered or individually registered with the exchange. When I say bilaterally or individually, that means whatever document you will execute or whatever registration formality you complete, you only complete with RXIL. You don't have to do any agreement or any documentation with any of the finance on this platform. Because let's say example, ABC is a supplier, okay, and we have 35 financer. ABC will or a buyer, Bajaj is the buyer, let's example. So Bajaj or ABC only execute a document with RXIL. They don't have to do any document with the financer. So it's a very easy mechanism to get the register on the RXIL platform, which is we also have an online registration for the seller, So within 1 or 2 hours, the seller can complete his registration. So, sir, basically, let's say the same example. ABC has a terms with Bajaj on 45 days terms. So ABC register on the platform, and Bajaj also get registered on the platform in the respective category. So as I mentioned that this is a many-to-many relationship. So basically ABC and the buyer Bajaj register on this platform in the independent category. Now what they have to first do, they have to create a link. We call it a link. In simple way, it is a hello. In simple way, it is basically a relationship where they will define what is the credit period, who will bear the cost, who will upload the invoices, who will accept the bid. So all these terms they will define on this platform. As I told you, this is a many-to-many relationship with one. Mr. Deepak, yeah, if you can just mute yourself. Yeah, so basically, you will define that, with this particular buyer, you have 45 days, with this particular buyer, you have 30 days, with this particular buyer, you have 15 days. So all these terms can be defined over here. Whether it is the seller will bear the cost, whether buyer will bear the cost, whether buyer and seller combined bear the cost, this is all possible on this system. That means this system, as per the guidelines of RBI, caters to factoring, where seller bears the cost, caters to reverse factoring, where only buyer bears the cost, or combination of it. So first 30 days, let's say seller bear the cost, next for 30 days can buyer bear the cost, is also possible on this system. Now how it flows, and this is what is a more interesting area, so once you onboard on the platform and once you define the link, this is where I want to spend more time. So how it will done basically. So see, take a same example, ABC, who supplies the material to Bajaj. So how the transaction began? Bajaj issue the purchase order to ABC with the terms of 45 days. ABC, based on the Bajaj terms, they will supply the material. Once they supply the material, okay, and the Bajaj accept, okay, on the 1st June they supply the material, and on 5th June Bajaj said, okay, your material is in order. Now I'll make the payment on you to 20th of July, 45 days from the goods acceptance date. You'll make the payment on 20th of July. Now ABC needs a fund. Okay, once ABC needs a fund, they will upload this particular accepted invoices on the platform. The moment it uploads, okay, we have a system where either ABC can upload the invoices or Bajaj can upload the invoices, and in any of the case, other party has to do acceptance. That means counterparty acceptance. So once a ABC, here we take an example that ABC is uploading the invoice. In that particular, Bajaj will accept it. That means counterparty approval will be done Bajaj. If Bajaj have any problem with respect to acceptance, they can very well return and tell the seller if they want to do any modification in that particular invoices. It might happen, for example, it might happen that 10 lakh invoices been uploaded, but Bajaj find that there is some quality issue, or there is some short material received, and they want to only accept 9 lakh at in that particular scenario. They will return that particular invoice and tell the seller to modify it. Okay. Now once the counterparty get approved, okay, and now it will be visible to all the financier who want to take a exposure on a Bajaj. Okay, so when we work with the Bajaj, we also tell the financier that Bajaj is coming, and based on the strength of Bajaj, again I'm repeating, based on the strength of the Bajaj, the financier is going to bid. So these limits are not marked to vendors. There is no balance sheet analysis of the vendors. Totally based on the Bajaj strength, the bids are put by the financier. So once bid are put by the financier, now you can see it's a dynamic and real time updates happening on the bid. So I take an example, that on a Bajaj there are 10 financiers who want to bid it. Okay, so let's example ICICI start with 9.5, then SBI will put 9.25. So it's basically reverse auction mechanism. Then Yes Bank will put 9%. Again ICICI can go and revise 8.75. Then SBI will put 8.5. So all these things are going on till these either buyer or seller who is bearing the cost accept it. Okay. So in this clear example, what we have said that say ABC is going to accept it, so they will accept. Okay, 8.5 is a very good rate, so ABC will accept that particular bid. That means interest rate. Okay, 8.5 is a very good rate, so ABC is ready to accept it, and they have accepted. The moment it accept it, okay, the obligation will get generated on the financer. So what our systems are basically 24/7, but our bid acceptance window is from morning 9 to evening 9. because we are totally NPCI driven and this is totally automated platform. So we have two sessions. One session is from morning 9 to 4 o'clock, first session, and then 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Whatever bids, whatever interest are accepted between 9 to 4 will get settled T+1. In the sense, next working day, the vendor will get payment into their account by 12 or 1 o'clock. Okay. Whatever bids are accepted between 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock evening, it will get settled T+2. Okay. All the interest and all the charges will be calculated based on the settlement date. That means based on the funds date, whatever funding date you received, based on that, your interest will be calculated. All the payment advice, all the alert will come to your email ID, whatever you have configured email ID, and you have a full knowledge of how the transaction has happened. Okay. So what will happen on the T+1 or T+2 date, we as a platform or a aggregator, we debit the financer account through NPCI mechanism and credit to the vendor accounts. This is totally automated. No financer will do any RTGS or any NEFT with respect to making the payment on vendor's account. It's totally automated. So you don't have to follow up for the payment. On the system only, you will come to know at okay, how much payment you are going to receive, what is the interest rate, and on what date you are going to receive the payment. Okay, so this is what we call as a leg one. So once the vendor receives the payment, okay, then on due date, we automatically debit the buyer account and give it to the financer. So if because of any reason, if the buyer doesn't make the payment to the financer, okay, none of the financer will come to the MSME and ask for the money. This is called without recourse to the MSME. That means if something happens to the buyer tomorrow, whatever finance done to the MSME vendor with respect to receivables, financer will not come and ask for the money. So these limits are not marked on the MSME. Again, I am repeating, the limits are not marked on the MSME. The limits are fully marked on the buyer. Okay. Now this is basically factoring processing flow where seller needs a fund, so they will upload the invoices, they will accept the bids and everything. Whereas in case of reverse factoring, buyer will upload the invoices and they will bear all the cost. Okay. Now what is the benefit to the seller? There are various benefits to the sellers. Okay, like total digital platform, quicker payment, multiple financer model, low cost of funding, because the financer who's financing on this platform, basically they get the PSL benefit. That means priority sector lending benefit. So they offer a very concessional rate over here. Plus the rates are based on the strength of the buyer. Okay. They see the Bajaj and quote their rate. Okay. Because they are supposed to receive the payment from the Bajaj. In their books also, they will mark the exposure against the Bajaj. So that's why the rates are very competitive. It is without recourse to the supplier. That means there is no marking of limit on the supplier. There is no limit on the supplier. The balance sheet, in the supplier's balance sheet, there is no borrowing. Okay, they already got the cash, so their receivable also get knocked off. Here I like to highlight that whenever we make the payment, we only make the payment in the seller's working capital bank account, because the receivable are first charged to the working capital banker of the seller whenever they are having a banking limit. Totally digital platform. Okay, this will improve their their liquidity, low cost of borrowing, and this will increase their business. So obviously, when seller get the benefit, in India everyone say mujhe kya milega, what is I'm going to get of it. So for a buyer also, because here we are offering the reverse factoring also, or extended term for the buyer also, they can very well comply with the MSME Act. That means they make the payment to the platform within 45 days to the MSME. If they need any additional 60 days, 75 days, and they will bear the cost, they can very well use this facility. Subsequently, digital platform, alternate way of financing, best rate, multi-financer model, we can very well integrate with the ERP or SAP system of the buyer, and it also strengthen the relationship of the buyer and the seller, because sellers are getting immediate funds, sellers are supplying a good material to the buyer is happy with the seller, so it's a good healthy relationship. Financer, why they are quoting a good rate on the priority sector on the sellers or a buyer? Because they are getting the priority sector lending benefit. low risk of default because they are taking a call on a big buyers. If the buyer default over here, it will be get defaulted across the banking industry. So there is a last place where buyer wants to get default. Good quality buyers they will get, and then automated. We have a seamless automatic reconciliation system. This project is backed by the government, and it's a baby of the government. So government is helping this platform, or more focus on this platform with respect to the funding on the MSME. So that's why government has mandated all the public sector units and government department to get registered on this platform. To just share with you, we almost have 100 plus PSU registered on a platform. Okay. Whatever financing happens to this platform qualify for the priority sector lending benefit for the buyer. So sorry, for the financer. So basically it encourages the financer to come and participate on the platform. Government also mandated that, that 500 crore turnover companies, all the corporates whose turnover is more than 500 crore, they have to mandatorily register on this platform. So that means they are pushing the corporates to get registered on the platform and do the transactions. Periodic information sorted by the government at various forums. Governments are representing the trades, how it will help the MSME. If you do go on the YouTube also, RBI also release the video with respect to trades to more provide education to the MSMEs, that how trades will benefit to them. In the union budget, to increase the financial category, in union budget, our finance minister, she is also announced that other NBFC can also participate on the trades platform. There are few clarification awaited. So once that clarification is come, we will at least have another 25 NBFC to get registered on a platform. We also integrated the GEM platform. If you are not aware about the GEM platform, and if you are if you want to supply to the government department, okay, please get registered on the GEM platform. It is work as a Flipkart or Amazon from the for the government entities. Okay, so you can online sell your product to the government entities. It's a some percentage are compulsion for the government entities to buy from the GEMS platform. So GEMS is basically a procurement platform for government and PSUs. So you can put your product over there. It's a easy marketing tool. So how trades is basically delay the issue of MSME. All the PSUs payments are now tracked by the government with respect to the MSME. So very soon, I think it will be mandatory for all the PSU to get registered and route all the transaction to the trades platform. It is also going to define the timeline. Within that timeline, they have to get registered on the trades platform and do the transaction on this platform. Recent MSME classification, it will increase the more kitty of MSME, considering that previously only on the 10 crore units, investing plant and machinery units were allowed as a MSME. Now it is increased to 50 crore, but obviously there is also a turnover specification done. So there is two conditions to be fulfilled with the investment in plant and machinery also, and turnover also. Okay, government is also planning to link with GST network so that more authenticated or validated invoices will come on the trades platform. That will reduce the invoice uploading on the platform. So whatever data you upload on GST network, then same data can be put into the trades platform. So you don't have to put the invoices on the platform, and the transactions are also genuine. We are if someone knows that insurance is not allowed on the receivable assignment of the receivables, okay, but IDA has allowed or sandbox testing for Tata AIG to do a sandbox testing. Okay, so it will allow the insurance or credit guarantee for the invoices finance on the trades platform. So that means more and more financer will come on the platform, and the MSME who supply to lower rated buyers also, they will also get the benefit of the financing with respect to their receivables. Lots of we are tying up with lots of association, MSME industries and bodies to create the awareness with respect to the receivable financing for the MSME on the trades platform. The registration, as I mentioned, it's also very simple. I think I request Satyajit to take this registration process. to just give you one announcement that, you know, for the MSME till 30th of June, we have make that registration fees to give a contribution from our side during this COVID-19 situation to help the MSME. So we have made the registration fees free. It's an online registration, so it's very easy. Satyajit will explain what kind of document is required with completing the registration. Over to you, Satyajit.
Thank you, Kailashji. Thank you very much, Kailashji. So now we will move ahead with the onboarding process of the supplier on this RXIL Trades platform. So if you can see on the screen, initially we used to do the offline registration process. So currently we are in last couple of months, we have moved to online registration process. If you can see on the screen, there is a link we have shared on that page. So through that link, you can start the onboarding process. So once you go to that link, you will land for that registration process. You have to go on our RXIL website first. So on Google, you have to type that rxil.in. So you will land on our RXIL homepage. So if you see in right side of the corner, you can see that register options over there. So if you click on that register option, you will land on this registration page. So on this registration page, you have to enter the basic information like your what type of customer you are. So for MSME, it will be by default seller. So you have to after that you have to put the GSTN number of your company or firm. You have to put the company name over here. After that, you have to put email address, mobile number of the contact person, and buyer with whom you are dealing. So initially you have to enter only one buyer name over here, and then you can continue. So once you click on the continue button, you will get one online application number from RXIL side. So that application number you can quote for a registration process. So so once you continue, this will be the home page. This is the first page which you will get. So on this first page, you have to enter the GSTN number. So we have a automatic check of this GSTN number. So once you put that GSTN number, system will fetch data from GSTN side, and they will whatever data you have entered on GSTN side, all these details will capture on this platform. So you have to so this is the documentation part. Basically for proprietorship firm, we used to get proprietor PAN card and address proof, PAN card of address proof of authorized official who will in RXIL, when you register any company on the platform, you have to nominate some person who are going to sign the onboarding documents for that on behalf of that company. So authorized person will be the person who is going to sign all the documents, agreements with RXIL. So for the we take the PAN card and address proof of that particular person. So for PAN, then you can in third option you can see that administrator part. So administrator means the person who is going to operate the trades platform on behalf of that company. So for that person, we are taking that KYC of that particular person and photograph. So here, constitution-wise, we are taking the documents for proprietorship person. If you can see the list of documents we are taking, and wherever we have mentioned that yes, so those documents we have to submit to RXIL for proprietorship person, for partnership firm, and for the company. So once you submit all this information on RXIL registration page, so that your case will get assigned to our operation team member. So that person will get in touch with that respective seller, and he will help you to complete the online registration process. And within once you complete that registration process on the platform, within 48 hours of time, you will receive an email and call from our side that your registration gets completed. and we will issue a ID password to that particular seller to access our trades portal. So we have our RXIL office is in Bandra Kurla complex, Mumbai, our corporate office, and we have another offices at Delhi, Chennai, and Hyderabad. Also, we have a presence in Kolkata and Bangalore also.
Yeah, also. Yeah. So, yeah, Satyajit, thank you. Sir, we are here. If you have any question or answer, we will like to take it. Just before that, I'm just going to one slide ahead. That the documentation is also very simple, like opening a current account kind of thing, where application form, KYC of the company, and other detailed GSTs and everything required. Apart from that, we only required one CA certificate, which confirms your status as an MSME as on particular date, and the one-time master agreement with the exchange, between exchange and the participant. Okay, so it's a very simple. These are basically our contact details. You can write to us on info@rxil.in. Okay, or you can write to support@rxil.in also. So we will address your query. Obviously, we will be forwarding this PPT to Cosmo so that they can circulate to their members. Yeah. So if you have any query, please, we will, myself, Satyajit, Indrajit, and Suman will like to address it. We again thank Cosmo Group for giving us the opportunity to present rates. We can join handy help the MSME. The whole intention to help the MSME with respect to their liquidity issue or the receivables where they raised on the large corporate or PSU or government department, and then there is a delay in receiving the payment, so that through this platform they can immediately get the amount. Please go ahead with your queries. We will address that. Yeah, please.
Satyajit,
Yes, sir.
this the financer will debit the interest part to the MSME supplier.
So, sir, basically after registration, the MSME seller and buyer has to decide mutually whether who is going to bear the discounting charges. So based on that, if in your discussion, if seller is going to bear the discounting charges, in discounting charges there are two types of charges you will get debited. First is bank interest, and second is RXIL transaction cost. So
What is the
going,
RXIL transaction cost?
our standard charges are 0.35% per annum basis. That is calculated on per transaction basis. So in buyer to buyer cases, that transaction charges can be less. So in we have some cases where we are charging 0.3%, 0.25%. But we have to look at the business volume, what we are going to get from that particular buyer. Based on that, we will reduce those charges. So coming to your question, that for discounting charges, if seller is going to bear that discounting charges, in that case, the whatever invoices they have uploaded on the platform, so by deducting that discounting charges, remaining payment will get credited to supplier's account. If buyer is in second scenario, if buyer is bearing the all discounting charges, then supplier will get 100% invoice amount on the platform.
Okay,
I have
this
a
is a
question. Can
mutually.
I ask now?
Yeah. Also, apart from this, first part I explained that 100% cost bear by supplier. Second portion I explained the 100% cost share by buyer, and we have option of cost sharing also, where you can split the you can split the cost on percentage wise or day wise. So percentage wise means you can put the percentage how much percent is going to bear the cost, how much percent supplier is going to bear the cost, how much percent buyer is going to bear the cost, and day wise means whatever credit terms are taken on the platform by a particular buyer. So you have to split those days according to your whatever discussion you have with your buyer.
So
The
one more
system
is
will automatically calculate that charges. Yeah.
We can get registered and keep it live as and when required. We can upload our.
Yes,
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 sir.
sure,
Yes,
sure.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
सुधीर
Sir,
सुधीर आपके
taking
पास
it-
कुछ क्वेश्चन है सुधीर मिस्टर सुधीर प्लीज
Yeah. Sir, here most of our people are doing a project type of activities, and where there are certain advances, and then there are against delivery or against receipt of the material, the payment is typically 90%. So in that case, you will be taking care of part of amount as well for this particular financing.
Correct, sir. Sir, the financing can be done based on the part also. It's not compulsory that 100% should be financed. It might happen that you have raised the invoices of 10,000 rupees, but either it's advance or is there any retention or is there any some dispute amount, and buyer or you want to only get finance of say 50%, 40% or 60%, 70%. It's totally your discretion whether how much finance you require against a particular invoice. Either you or a buyer with respect to whatever financing you need. So it's a purely option. Even it is not compulsion that tomorrow if you upload invoices of 10,000 rupees and the rates are high and you don't want any financing as of now, you can very well don't accept those particular rates. It's purely your right to accept a particular bid and take a finance. So you are
Okay.
here,
Yeah,
you
I
have
are
a
choosing your
question.
rates. Yeah.
Yeah, Yogesh Goyal ji.
I have a question.
योगेश
Yeah.
please.
So my question is now, is there a system or a protocol that we have to raise the financing in the system within a certain number of days after the invoice has been done? So suppose
Correct.
I'll just give you an example. Now, if my payment terms is say 45 days, like you said, and on the 20th day I realize that I want to get it financed, is that possible, or do I have to raise the request only in a certain period of time?
No, sir. You can take a request at 20th day also. What system does that? There is a validation that you have to take the finance within 45 days from the goods acceptance date. Because MSME Act says that within 45 days, the buyer has to make the payment to the seller. Okay. So by that particular logic of and the compliance of the MSME, we wait up to 45 days. We have a system 3 days before 45 days, the invoice get expired. So I'll say 42 days because sometimes it have a Saturday, Sunday holiday kind of thing. So yes, on a 20th day, you think that you need a finance and you want to upload this on the on the platform, and buyer is ready to accept it. Yes, you can take a financing, and the interest will be also charged from the financing date till due date.
Understood.
Sriram bhai.
Another question on the same point.
शकीर है लाइन में
Can I just complete my question?
Yeah, Yogesh bhai, complete your sentence.
I just have one small query. Now, I have understood that companies whose turnovers are more than 500 crores are mandated now by the government of India to accept this system. This query got answered in the chat box by somebody who said that below 500 crores, the company is not obliged to accept this system. Is that right?
Correct. So basically, it's like that.
Which means that if I'm supplying to any company whose turnover is below 500 crores and system of financing through RXIL, they are not obliged to accept the system.
Correct. So basically, it is compulsory. See, at the end of the day, it's a buyer-driven model because they have to come and accept his liability over here. For the government has mandated all the companies around 500 crores to get registered on the platform. So for them, it's mandatory. But if you are supplying to 300, 400 crore also, it is not mandatory for them. But yes, they can come on the platform and help the MSME. Subsequently, not only help the MSME, but also if they are finding a good rate over here, they can also avail the financing through this platform. Okay.
Which means that it is completely a choice that they have. You cannot force them to accept this financing.
Absolutely. Yes. Correctly said.
Okay. My point is answered. Thank you.
Shakir, please.
Sir, I just have a quick question. Now, this entire platform seems to be structured around large order values. Is there a limitation on how much the amount? Is there a smaller amount limitation, or is it only for large transactions?
So to just share you the performance of the platform, we almost finance more than 4,000 crore of business. The invoices are ranging from 200 rupees to 3.5 crore. Again, I am repeating, it is ranged from 200 rupees to 3.5 crore. We handle almost lakh number of invoices. Okay.
Sriram bhai.
Interest quote also.
Sriram bhai, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. My question to Mr. Kailash, if the buyer of say 500 crore, if its payment history is not good at all, So it's likely that some financiers may not come out or may not be able to help him out or will not come out. Such situation does arise.
Yes, I agree with you. It's a purely a financing. This is a financing tool, correct? So it's a
Right.
comfort level of the financer because whatever limits they are giving, financer is giving is based on the strength of the buyer. Okay,
Right.
and it is totally unsecured. Plus, I will say unadvised because they are not entering into any bilateral arrangement. So it's a financer to call to whether to finance against particular buyer or not. It's a purely their call. But to be just share with you, when we deal with the particular buyer or a supplier, we actually check with the financer whether they are comfortable with this buyer to give a limits on this platform. So before onboarding them, we go and check with them with the financer. Today we have 35 financer, and most of the in many cases we are seeing that at least one or two financer is coming and taking the exposure on a particular buyer.
Okay. Okay, sir. And what about?
Go ahead.
So,
Go ahead, Sriram bhai.
yeah, it's a general observed that even the big corporates, they make a small companies less than 400, less than 500 crore and do the purchasing. In such case, can RXIL be helpful?
Can you repeat your, because in between it got break.
So I'm sorry. It's observed that even the big corporate offices, they make themselves a small companies, or they divide the business in the small companies of themselves, who are their subsidiary, and they purchase it through its small companies, where the turnover is less than say 300 crores or like that. In such case, can RXIL be helpful to us?
Yes, what you said is right. Considering that, if you see the banks who finance it, they normally see the group. Okay, so let's example, if Reliance has formed a small subsidiary who has a 200 crore of turnover, based on the strength of the group, many financiers is coming and financing. So I'm just giving an example. In the construction line, that these guys are basically creating the SPVs. If you go to the Sapuji Palamji group, when they take a project, they create a SPVs. So based on the strength of the Sapuji Palamji group, we have an example where few bankers are coming and discounting that particular SPV bills, even though that SPV don't have any credit rating.
Okay.
So they are doing the financing. To answer to your question, yes, financiers are coming and doing the financing on those small subsidiary of a big corporate.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Kannad bhai, please go ahead. Mr. Kannad.
Like 8.5%, 9%, 8.75%. What are those? Are those percentage of this thing? Is it the interest rate that is charged for the finance, or is it the 8.5% of the invoice value that is going to be the finance cost? Hello?
Your voice is not clear.
Yeah, so I can hear a little bit. Sir, the 8.5 or 8% is basically an interest rate charged by the financer on this platform, which is in simple way a discount rate or interest rate, whatever get charged on the normal traditional way of bill discounting or CC limit, the same way it will get charged over here. So it's not a flat rate that, they will charge flat 8.5. It's a per annum basis. So based on the number of days, how it gets calculated on bill discounting or CC limit, same way it will get calculated. It's an annualized rate, interest rate.
Ananda Bhattaji. Okay, Kannad, finish your thing. Yeah.
What are the rates that are charged these days from your experience of this whole system? Is it really in the range of 8.59%, or is it some just figure given by you for explaining it to us?
No, sir. Really? Yeah. So, sir, lowest rate, just to share your experience with you, lowest rate is 5.95% per annum. Okay, and highest rate is 12%. But as what you mentioned, that 8.5 to 9% is the average rate we have seen. That's why we have quoted the same number. For an A-rated company, the rates are between the range of 8.5 to 9%. That is what our experience says. But we have seen the lowest rate going up to 5.95, which is actually you are not getting at CPs also. And highest we have seen 12% in some cases where, some 10,000, 5,000 invoices are are coming on the platform, that is also getting discounted, but the rates are higher. Okay, so see the rates basically is based on the strength of the buyer, the value, the volume. Okay, whether it is PSUs or a private company, whether it's own customer or new to the bank. So all these parameters are there. But to share, exactly what you said, 8.5 to 9% is the average rate for the A-rated company.
So just wanted to mention one small thing. While quoting interest by financer, bankers are looking after who is the buyer, what are their financials, and their credit rating, latest credit rating. Based on that rating, this interest will get decided by the buyer, financer. I'm sorry. So what Kailash have mentioned, so in case of Indian Oil or Hindustan Petroleum, in those company, you can get the rate up to 5.9%, 6% per annum basis. And if company is having a rating of, right now the rating which we are looking after is in the range of BBB to AAA. So the company who is in the range of AAA rated, in that case the rate will get as lowest as Kailash said, that is a 5.95%. And with respect to company who is a BBB minus, in that case we have seen the rate of interest is in the range of 10% to 12%.
Mr. Satyajit, I'm just sharing one of the screens with respect to the rates. If you can explain.
Yes, sir. See,
yeah.
This is the screenshot of our screen. So if you can see, this is a buyer. The buyer is Indian Oil. This is the code of the buyer, IN 4100399. And if you see the invoice amount over here, 14,39,350. And if you see the accepted rate, that is the lowest rate by which we have seen on the platform, is 5.95% per annum basis. So if you see the for the Indian Oil rates, if you see the range of the interest rate is from 5.95, 6.05, 6.10. All these are transaction, and if you see the invoice value also, so in some cases the banker looking after that invoice value, what is the invoice value, based on that also they quoting the rate.
Mr. Satyajit, I have one question. Hello?
Yeah, Tarunji, go ahead.
Yeah, I have one question that if any company which is below the turnover of 500 crore, and
Yes.
can we find them on the trades platform that they are registered with trades or not?
Yes, yes. If that company is below 500 crore and if they have a good rating, credit rating, if they have a good financial history, so in that case, if banker is comfortable with that company, definitely we can take that company as a buyer on the platform. And we have some company with a turnover of less than 500 CR on the platform.
No, my question is there may be some companies who are already registered with trades, and if and we want to check if they are already on trades or not. Is there any facility to the seller?
Sir, one-to-one, we can one-to-one, we can discuss, and because see, buyers sometimes they hesitate that you should not give all the names to anyone third party. So one-to-one, we can talk and confirm to you whether this particular buyer is registered with us or not.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So whatever members coming right now present in this meeting, so you can share the name of buyers whether you wanted to check with RXIL whether they are registered with us or not. So you can share that list of buyers with announcer or anyone, and they can mail us that list. We will confirm you whether that company is registered with RXIL or not. There are few companies who are in the process of registration also, so that we can confirm very well whether they are registered with us or not, if we get the list from your side.
Mr. Dipesh.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Hello.
Yeah, Dipesh,
my question is, we are purchasing materials from the supplier and we are selling materials to the customer. So as a buyer and supplier, both sides we should register in that, or within one registration we can do the both action. Hello.
Yes, sir. So as you are saying that you wanted to register as a seller or as well as buyer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So in seller category, as we said that if you are MSME, that it is not a problem for us to register you as a seller.
Okay.
But if you want to register as a buyer, we can register you as a buyer on the platform. But again, the question is whether any financer is willing to take any limit on you. That we have to check with that particular financer. But for also we should have a check that whether you have a good credit rating. That is also the important part.
Okay, and one more question. For me, I have a pending payment from the public customer, public company. So that also I can upload for getting the payment, and also I should force him to register in this platform.
How old are these payments?
45 between 45 days. In between 45 days.
If that buyer is registered on the platform, and once you get registered on the platform, so and can you tell that buyer name, please? So you can.
Mr. Henry and Farad from Ernakulam, Cochin, Kerala.
Is it a PSU?
No. Private contractor.
Achha.
Private company.
Is it a private company?
Yeah.
I think that company is not registered with us right now. So unless and until that buyer is not with us, we cannot start the transaction first of all.
Okay. If buyer is registered in that, we can
Yes,
avail the.
see, we have cases where buyer have just the registration process with us, but they have not active on the platform. So for that, first we need to check the rating of that buyer and comfortness of the financer side also.
If he registered in NSIC, any link between NSIC and RXIL?
No, sir. No link with NSIC as of now. But to just address your previous, answer, to add what Satyajit said. See, whenever the buyer is not there on the platform, but if you want that particular buyer to get on board on platform, so we have cases where supplier has actually given a reference of the buyer. We have presented to the buyer. They got the understanding that how this platform work, and then they want their suppliers to get benefit out of it, or they also get a benefit out of it, because it is not only that one supplier. It can be that 100 suppliers also, other suppliers also, where they can get benefit out of it. As I mentioned, that it is basically factoring as well as reverse factoring. Okay, so they can also have a purchase bill discounting through this platform. So it is benefit for both buyer, seller, and the financer over here. So we can very well approach them, present them, and then they can take it forward. So it's basically from any angle, either from supplier or from buyer, we can get it onboarded and start the transition. There is no problem. Yes, Satyajit, again, I'm repeating what Satyajit is saying. If the finances are comfortable, even though triple B minus rated, where finance is comfortable to take a call on a particular buyer, yes, we can very well register and do the transition on this platform.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Ashok Goyalji, just unmute and you can ask the query. Mr. Ashok Goyalji.
Yeah. Mr. Kailash, I just want to ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
In many of the cases, customer discusses a lot of payment terms, and at last by saying that paisa ye baki hai. Now, in that case, they don't get payment. Is there any possibility, or is there any way where you can help us in getting our payment released?
Sir, actually, your voice in between, it was lost kind of thing.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
Ashok bhai, repeat the question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ashok bhai.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Ashok ji, go ahead.
Ashok ji, we are able to listen to you.
I think Ashok ji, your network is not proper. I think. Can I request Kannad ji to ask the question?
Hello.
Yeah, Ashok ji. Yeah, now it's better.
Yeah, it's
I think there is a network problem at his end,
Yeah,
and
that's
that
what
is the
I
reason
also
he's
felt.
not able to complete his question.
Yeah,
His
maybe
question,
the
if I can just ask on his behalf, I've understood a little bit.
Yeah,
So what
please.
he wanted to ask is, a lot of customers, they withheld the payment because of vague reasons. In such cases, any customer, whether it's a cooperative agency or whether it is a PSU, they can be forced to accept registration of or making the payment through RXIL. That is, I think, if what I've understood correctly. So if that customer has a turnover of more than 500 crores, can they be rather are they obliged to accept payment through RXIL? Or can he refuse to say that no, I do not want to accept this kind of a discounting facility. I will make payment directly only.
Hello.
Yeah, Kailash ji.
Yes.
Did you
Yes,
get
sir,
the question? Did you get the
Yes,
question?
sir. So in between my there was some network issue, so for a 30-second I got disconnected. Can you please repeat it?
See, the question is now, for example, any customer, any buyer whose turnover is more than 500 crores, can they be forced to accept this payment through RXIL, or they can choose that they do not want to be a part of this system?
Sir, as I told you that they have to mandatory get registered on this platform. That is correct, one thing. But if they want to hold the payment, if somehow it's not compulsory for them to come and do the transaction on the platform. Okay, so what you're saying is right. If they want to intentionally hold something, yes, they can very well hold it. But to just share with you the way government is now following up with all the corporates and PSUs, asking them that what kind of transaction you are handling through the trades and how you are helping the MSME, or how many MSME of yours are registered on the trades platform. I think very soon it will come that they are going to track that each and every payment of the MSME done to the trades platform. Because the almost we have seen 4 letters where government has sent it to their respective ministry, like heavy engineering or defense industry, that they have to compulsory register their MSME with the trades platform and make all the payment through the trades platform. So all these things are happening. Many things are happening. So I think down the line, 5-6 months, there are many things which come on a trades platform, so that MSME will get benefit out of it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Kannad, you may go ahead with the question.
Up to 30th June without any charges or any fees. Now I want to know, if we have going to register, is it necessary for us to specify any buyer while registering?
Sir, it's optional. It is better if you can tell us the buyer name, because then we will immediately tell you that okay, this buyer is already registered, so you are comfortable. Okay, yes, this buyer is registered and already doing transaction on the trades platform. It is better, but it is optional. If you don't want to mention the buyer name, we are okay with it.
Okay.
Mr. Venkatesh ji.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Hi, Kailash. You can hear me, Vishal?
Yeah, go ahead. You are audible.
Okay. So, Kailash, I have 2 questions. First question is, by default, is every PSU obliged to accept the RXIL platform?
Yes, sir. It's a mandatory for them. October 17, there is a circular for all the PSUs and government department to get registered on a trades platform. I agree with you that people may register but will not do a transaction, but the kind of government is following up. So I'll just tell you, last 18-19 when the circular came, only 7% we have doing for the PSU. Now that increased to 20%. Now we are seeing that it is in the range of 22 to 25%. Obviously, because it's COVID situation, many things got hold, but we are expecting at least 40% transaction on our platform through the PSU network.
Okay. My second question is, assuming that I am registered on RXIL, my buyer also is registered on RXIL. Okay. Say, assuming I bill equipment to my buyer on 1st of June. okay, and the GRN is made on say 2nd June. We upload the documents on the RXIL platform. Is the buyer obliged to accept payment to the RXIL platform?
Sir, here specifically buyer have to come on the platform and accept those invoices. So basically, once they the acceptance, then only it will go to financing. But it is a purely a call of the buyer to come and accept on the platform. So we force them, pressure them, but it's not like that we make them mandatory to accept the invoice on the platform, because sometimes it happens that they take some time to get the quality or whatever specification to clear from their engineering department or their quality department. So for that they take some time, and that time they might show us the PO or contract, but we can follow up with them, but we cannot put them mandatory to put acceptance on the platform.
Okay, so it's basically not mandatory. So say assume we extend it to 35 days, 40 days. The GRN is accepted, but still it is not mandatory to the buyer. And we cannot force the buyer to accept it.
Sir, we'll follow up, but we will not able to force it correctly. What you're saying is right.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm asking another question. So is there any way that you can check the buyer credit rating on your platform?
Yes. We have all this, all the features.
Excellent.
Even we have tie up with CRISIL. Whether it is CRISIL customer or non-CRISIL customer, they give a detailed report to us, which we will share with the financer, so that they have a ready-made information and they can define the limit on this particular buyer on our platform.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any further question? If anybody would like to have any question.
Yeah.
Anand bhai. Yeah, Ramani ji.
I'd like to ask. Yeah. Suppose buyer accepts the transaction on RXIL, and then on the due date he finds that he has a fund flow problem. Then does the financier compulsorily pay for that transaction, and the collection of the money from the buyer is then the financier's responsibility? Once the document is submitted, is it mandatory that that the buyer is duty bound to make the payment, or is that also flexible?
Sir, it's because when we onboard the buyer, we take a debit mandate from the buyer, which is how it works like ECS in our housing loan or personal loan. So we actually go and debit their account on a due date. Okay, there is no flexibility on that, because based on the amount, based on the due date, actually financer financing. So buyer has to apply to make the payment. We also have one provision in the system where they can ask for the extension up to 15 days. But it is a discretion of the financer whether they want to allow that particular extension or not.
Okay.
So the whole concept of this platform to bring a discipline for making the payment to the MSME as well as the financer on a due date for a buyer.
And if buyer fails to make the payment on due date to financer, no bank will come to MSME to recover that amount from that MSME. So MSME is out of the picture once you get the payment for that particular invoice. And if buyer fails to make the payment, then it is between that buyer and financer for recovery of that payment.
Does this credit rating of the buyer is visible to the vendor?
Sir, credit rating of the buyer, obviously we can also tell you, but this kind of information is very well available in the public portal. So we can also share, there is no problem. Plus you can go and Google it out and check it out the ratings. There is no problem. It's a publicly information available. Wherever you require, we are ready here, there to provide all the information.
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah, go ahead, Sanjeev bhai.
Suppose it's a very, very long order. Say the order is to be executed in a year's time. In the first transaction we have done, and the financer has also financed on behalf of the buyer. But then the buyer is not able to pay in the scheduled time. By that time, my another consignment is ready. Will the financer finance in that case also on behalf of the buyer?
So, sir, in that particular case, financer will not able to finance. See, if it is overdue, if your first, let's example, because normally in long contract you normally raise the RA bill, correct, running bill. So you got finance against first running bill, and by the time second running bill is came, the financer, the buyer became overdue. Then obviously financer will not come and finance on second bill. It's a natural, correct. If your account is going into stress, your banker will not allow you further financing, correct?
Yeah. Then the MSME is stuck.
Sir, but at the end of the day, you think of financer also, no? They are giving the payment out of the pocket without taking any collateral or any insurance or any sanctioned bilateral arrangement with the buyer. So that is also there, no, sir?
Yeah, Anand bhai.
Hello.
Yeah, Anand.
I hope all the questions and answers are answered. If still you have got any questions, you can contact us at Cosma or at my personal email ID. I'll forward it to RXIL. Now I'll just forward this mic to Mr. Sudhir Hanumante for the rest of the meeting. Sudhir, please.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mr. Anand. I would like to thank you, Mr. Satyajit Jatar and Mr. Kailash, for their wonderful presentation and also giving opportunity to Cosma family members to learn about your working in detail. I would like to thank you and appreciate our President, Mr. Sanju, who is not available today, and Mr. Anand Jayawant for arranging this particular wonderful session for this Sunday morning. My gratitude to my colleague, Mr. Narendra Nande, who has initiated this particular session after interacting with RXIL, Mr. Satyajit. Also, I would like to place my sincere thanks to Mr. Sriram, our secretary, our evergreen administrator, Mr. Vishal Bhai, and our summarizing expert, Mr. Ramani ji, and of course our chairman and the most motivational personality, Mr. Satish Bhai. Also, I would like to thank all Cosma family members for attending this particular session and made it successful. Further, I would like to, I am sure that there will be a lot of registration will follow for RXIL, and I think what number of customers you told, you have to increase it really many-fold, because just 35 customers does not really suffice our need. There will be at least 100 plus.
Sorry, sir, it's not 35 is a financer. We have 500 buyers on the platform and we have 2200 MSME on the platform. So 35 is a financer taking all the public sector bank, private bank, major private bank and foreign banks.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Kailash, for that clarification. Once again, I would like to thank you all for your wonderful session, and we appreciate your time and efforts what you have put in. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks to the Cosmo family and Nandaji, Jayvanji, Sanghvi, Sudhirji. I also like to thank Satyajit and Indrajit and Suman. Indrajit and Suman both are in background, continuously replying to all the queries raised by the participant in the chat box. So thanks to all. And we are really thankful to the Cosmo family who has given us opportunity to present rates, and we look forward to the Cosmo family and a partner to the Cosmo family.
Okay.
Thank you.